Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Manchester Planning Board. Nice to meet you. Um, Sorry, here. If somebody online can just give me the thumbs up that you can hear us. Okay, thank you. I'm gonna call the meeting to order. Present, we have Brian Fry.
Here.
Sue Philbrick. Here. Mark.
Peter.
Peter Morton.
Yeah, wait, hold on. There you go.
Peter Morton, okay. Chris Halsey.
Here.
And our planner, Mark Resnick. Gordon Brewster is going to be absent tonight. And I think Sandy is on her way. So the first order of business, we do have a hearing tonight for the harbor dredging, but we're going to first take a approval not required, followed by Walter Theodore Miller at 6 Brookwood Road. Is anybody here for that?
Yeah, that's me.
Oh, hi.
Hi, it's my wife's name is on the screen, but I'm Walter Miller.
Hi.
Hi there.
Great. Okay. I can bring up the plan. If you want to just describe to us what you're trying to do, that would be great.
Okay. Thank you for the opportunity, and thank you for your consideration. My sister and I inherited this property, and we are looking to. My father passed away last August, and we are looking to carve out an 8-acre parcel that goes along with the existing domicile that will then most likely be sold. We want to keep the remaining land as much as possible as is, and get this into a sort of a state, the most sort of desirable size, and put a boundary that conforms with the topography, et cetera, includes the existing leaching field, septic system, et cetera, and also have sort of the minimum frontage so that would be required for the property. We're looking to carve it out and unfortunately sell it at some point. So the property would include a parcel in Manchester as well as Beverly. I'm going to be going through the same process later on this month with Beverly, the city of Beverly. Again, we are not looking to make any make any changes to the existing structures. We're just trying to carve out a smaller, kind of more marketable piece of land that includes everything that a new owner would require to live there happily. And so that's the purpose of this request.
So you're currently, the existing parcels are having a hard time figuring out what's the existing lot lines.
It's a little tricky. Yeah, so just for the Manchester portion, you can sort of, it's very tricky. It's a sort of very old, kind of following all kinds of wood, sort of walls in the woods, et cetera. And hopefully it makes sense. In the middle of that is sort of an island of 1.5 acres. That is where my family and I live. So my parents carved out 1.5 acres, and we have a house there. That's all remaining the same. So it's just, sorry, go ahead. Sorry, question.
No, I was trying to make my cursor work, but I think I don't have control over the cursor.
Yeah, his parcel that he's talking about is the one that's labeled 6 Brookwood, is the one that's kind of in the larger piece.
So that exists already
That
as
exists,
an
oh.
island within the larger piece.
That's
And
correct.
everything else is the larger piece.
That's correct. And
That's
so
right.
what he wants to do is the first home, as I believe that's 4 Brookwood. He wants to put that on its own property and then have a parcel that surrounds number 6, and then another property that is, as you drive in on the left, that's mostly in Beverly.
So he's making a donut and a crawler.
Yep. The pastry shop that we're opening up here.
Okay, so right now, just to restate that, lot 1, lot 2, and lot 3 are all one parcel.
So currently, correct, yes.
Currently, okay.
Thank you. Yes,
And 6 Brookwood Road is already a separate
Exactly.
lot.
that's out of scope, right? And that's the donut hole.
Okay, and you want to make 3,
Exactly,
1, 2, and 3. Okay,
exactly.
got it. Okay, recommendation from you, Mark?
The plan be endorsed.
Okay, can you just give us the reasons?
Well, there's the road going around the back, it's the road comes around the back of the school. Then it goes up past number 6 and it keeps going off the land here. And that road's all been repaved. So it provides very good access for the lots that are here. So.
And we have the required frontage of,
Mhm.
this plan doesn't tell us what zone this is in. B, oh yeah, zoning district C. Okay. Other questions for folks? The one question I have is that, the fee paid was $500. It should be, per lot. So it should be $750, right? Why? So it should be $750.
Yeah, thank you. I'll whatever the guidance is, I'll comply. I was thinking that the Manchester lots, there are 2 Manchester lots now where there was 1. There will be a Beverly lot, and I'm paying Beverly for that as well. So it seemed like I was that 3rd lot is being covered by the Beverly, the the city of Beverly process. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but it is in it has a portion in Manchester, right? 2 pieces.
Well, so the Manchester parcel is 1 parcel currently, and it's becoming 2. This lot will include the 2 acres in Beverly, but I'm going through that process with Beverly. I'm taking the Beverly lot and splitting that as well and paying for that. So I was on my interpretation was that for Manchester, there's 1 lot and I'm making it 2, and I'm happy to, but
Yeah, okay.
I will go with whatever you decide.
Okay, and then Mark, lot 1 has frontage along Brookwood Road. I'm not sure exactly how much,
163 feet.
well, no, it's not 160 feet, it's something less than that.
I think it's 158.
No, lot 2 has 158 in Manchester. Lot 1.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
The
Yeah, yeah.
gas line is the city line. City
That's
town
correct.
line. And so, do we need to worry that there's not sufficient frontage in Manchester? And I guess the other question I have more for you. Well, let's answer that first question.
Um, I don't think so, but that little portion is, I mean, lot extends all the way. Actually, no, the lot has, it includes the way. All the way through here, so,
It has frontage even though it's across two towns.
yeah.
Topography such that you didn't want to follow the city line?
Two reasons. The topography, it was one that the parcel of land that is the small piece that's left in Manchester that's on the road there is marshy, as is the land that's in Beverly. Number one. And number two, we wanted to make sure that we were only providing say, the minimum for one. I know that there was ways around it, but we were thinking, let's make it just the minimum for frontage for this lot that we're carving out to. We were trying to take a as conservative approach as possible.
Any other comments or questions?
Has anyone asked the question? I'm just curious. The parcels, the lots are the wildest shape. I mean, is that to?
The question is, why are the parcels shaped in this way?
Is that topography? Is what's?
That is 100% topography. Yeah, definitely topography. And then we wanted to include the existing leaching field, which is the northern sort of horn up top there. That is, so we included that area there, and that it's historically very weird, very unusual how it all evolved. Centuries of things being sliced up and walls being moved and so forth. So we were sort of following that historical practice as well.
Okay, thanks.
And I have one other question, and that says the plan of land is prepared for Linda Miller for Brookwood Road. Is that the deed is Linda Miller's name? She's not living, is she?
Correct. Yep. It's in my mother's name. She passed away in 2015, and it passed to my father. He passed away last August, and my sister and I inherited the land. We're going to need to resolve that for sure.
Okay, so the deed is still in her name.
I'm under the impression that it's under my father's name. I think it passed to him. So that might be stale information that the surveyor somehow referenced.
I think we can endorse it if it's not in the name of the person who owns the land. I'm gonna stop sharing. I happen to have. I may have an answer on that in a second.
Was the deed filed or was it just like a transferred in the trust?
Exactly. Yeah, it's all in the trust.
So no, if it just transferred in a trust, they might not have filed the deed. So.
All right, well, the assessor has it in your name. Interestingly enough.
The assessor. So my father and I had the same name. So I think that might be.
That's probably.
Yeah.
So the assessor has it in Walter Miller name. So I don't think we can endorse a plan unless we know that that's the proper name. So what I'm going to suggest is that we take a motion to endorse the plan as present, and given that we're not going to meet till January, that we, and authorize me to, sign an amended plan once the, ownership has been confirmed by the applicant. So,
So moved.
so I would take a motion to endorse the plan of land in Manchester, Mass. Prepared for Linda Dunlap Miller or as amended at 4 Brookwood Road. I think this is also 6 Brookwood Road. Yeah,
It's
the address is 4, but your mailing address is 4.
Yeah, the property is for my address is 6. I'm in that island. That's 6 Brookwood Road. So
Oh, okay, sorry.
no problem.
All right, let me just. Sorry, let me just, I put that in. Okay. Okay, so prepared for Linda Dunlap Miller or as amended at 4 Brookwood Road, prepared by LeBlanc Survey Associates, October 15th, 2025, scale 1 inch equals 80 feet. Peter moved that.
So moved.
Second.
Sandy seconded. Any other discussion? And if you can't get us that information within by December 19th, then I'm also gonna ask you for a extension.
Okay.
Because we have 21 days to do this and we wanna make it right. So, if you, just give us a verbal that if you don't get this straightened out by December 20th, we receive this on the 1st. So
Definitely.
that you will give us an extension, to get it correct. I mean, we're
Okay.
gonna endorse it, so I think you're fine.
Okay, that's
Okay.
great.
Great.
And if I could just make sure I understand what is required, like a document.
Let Mark know who owns the land.
Oh, okay.
The surveyor has to change the.
Yeah, and change, and then put if it's Linda, fine, then we'll sign it. If it's somebody else, then it should be whatever's on the deed.
Got it. That makes
And make sure the plan says whoever's on the deed is correct.
okay. So we're gonna need to get a new Mylar
If you need to change it, yeah.
if we need to change it. Okay. And so if it,
Okay,
sorry, if it's in Linda Miller's name,
then you're good to go.
then it's good to go. Okay, got it.
Yep.
Okay,
And
great.
then before we close this out, what do we think about given that the majority of the land is in Manchester, stick with the $500?
Yes.
Okay. Consensus on you're good on the $500. I'll take a vote. All in favor? Chair votes yes. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank
You'll
you.
be in touch with Mark. We're not planning on meetings. Great, thank you.
Thanks.
And yeah, if you guys can give us these back so we can get him to sign copies.
Do you need them all?
Yeah. Unless you want to wrap your Christmas present.
Big enough.
Okay, so then, next, item is the public hearing for the Manchester Harbor Entrance Channel and Mooring Basin at Parks and Cove Maintenance Dredging Project Special Permit. So this time I'm gonna turn this, over to Sue, to preside over this, and I can share the screen for the plan.
Great, I will take a motion to open the public hearing on the request for a special permit under section 4.2 F1 of the zoning bylaw submitted by the town of Manchester for a special permit to authorize maintenance dredging at the Manchester Harbor entrance in Proctor Cove to take place below the mean high water line, and which requires a state license under section 18 of chapter 91 of the Mass General Laws.
So moved.
Second.
Is there a second?
Yeah, second.
All in favor of opening the public hearing?
Abstain.
No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in favor, 1 abstention. Okay, who is here to present on the application?
Good evening, everyone. This is Nate DeRozier with DPW. We also have Bayan Pike, the harbor master, on the call, and our consulting engineers, both infrastructure, and with them we have Jessica Heath, Fiona Vardy, and Jimmy Hill. I believe Jessica is going to walk us through a quick presentation of the project. And with that, I'll turn it over to her.
Hi, everyone. Do you want me to share my screen, or are you gonna share yours for the plan?
Presentation, why don't you go ahead and share?
Okay.
Yeah, just ask for permission, you know.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So I'll start off with the overview of the project location. So we have the maintenance dredging project and the entrance channel, and then Proctor Cove, and then it's going to be disposal out in offshore at the Massachusetts Bay disposal site out here. And I'll pull up the plans and kind of talk through them. So we've split the dredge areas into 3 different areas that we're calling A, B, and C. So A is the outer entrance channel, B is the inner entrance channel, and then C is Proctor Cove. And we have an example cross section here of the proposed dredging. So the entrance channel is 100 feet wide. And then Proctor Cove is, the width varies since it's in a regular shape. So we're proposing dredging to negative 10.33 feet mean low water with a foot of allowable overdredge in the inner and outer entrance channel. And then in Proctor Cove, we're proposing dredging to negative 7.33 feet mean low water with a foot of allowable overdredge with typical 3-to-1 slope. And for volumes, in the outer entrance channel, we have approximately 18,570 cubic yards, just over 6,100 cubic yards in the inner entrance channel, and just over 28,000 cubic yards in Proctor Cove, which totals to just shy of 53,000 cubic yards of dredge material. So we are showing all of the areas that are below the 10.33 or the 7.33 in Proctor Cove as shaded in gray here. So that would be the proposed dredge areas that are shallower than those required depths. And then we have done a couple of eelgrass surveys. There's quite a bit of eelgrass prevalent in the dredge areas. So we'll be working with regulatory agencies for mitigation measures, and we have received an order of conditions from the Conservation Commission, and I'll just show you guys what it stated regarding eelgrass. So we're going to implement an eelgrass mitigation plan between the town and the regulatory agencies, which we are working with, and then it might include reseeding of eelgrass or other mitigation measures as what's deemed necessary. And the material that we are dredging is mostly medium to fine sands with fine grain organic marine silt and clay. The project's main goal is to restore navigation and maintain access for recreational and commercial vessels by removing sediment buildup that has reduced the channel depths in this area. So it's maintenance dredging only. There's no widening or deepening beyond what has previously been dredged in the past. And then, as I showed in the Google Earth image, the dredge material will be transported about 12 nautical miles offshore to the Massachusetts Bay disposal site. So the channel is used year-round by commercial and recreational boaters, providing access to marinas, boatyards, charter boats, fishing boats, and pleasure craft. So many local businesses rely on safe navigable waters. So without this dredging, the sediment will continue to accumulate and increase the risk of vessel groundings and potentially making the channel and cove unusable even at higher tide cycles, which would create a safety hazard, limit public access, and harm the local economy. Visually, the majority of the dredging is going to occur below the mean high water mark, so there will be no visual impacts post-dredging. There are a couple of very small intertidal zones within, right here is an example, and here too, within Proctor Cove, where there is visual material at low tide, so you may be able to see post-dredging impacts at low tide in these areas. For the construction period, the dredging is proposed to occur 24/7 from October through December of 2026, which is within the time of year restrictions set by the regulatory agencies to protect sensitive species. So working around the clock is essential since we work with tides and dredging, so the high and low tides affect access and efficiency. If we limit work to daytime hours only, we'd miss valuable tide windows, risk delays that could extend the project beyond the allowed seasonal period. And then, the continuous operations allow us to use every tide cycle, keep steady progress, and complete the project safely and on time without environmental impact. For the zoning bylaws, the project complies with the Manchester by the Sea zoning bylaws, covering lighting, noise, neighborhood character, traffic, and fiscal impact. As far as lighting goes, nighttime lighting will be limited to shielded downward-facing fixtures focused on the immediate work area on the dredge platform. The design reduces glare and prevents light from spilling toward nearby properties. And barges and tugs will use standard marine navigation lighting supplemented by low-intensity focus work lights for safety purposes. And then as far as noise goes, all equipment, including generators, will be properly maintained and fitted with sound dampening enclosures and mufflers to reduce noise as necessary. And we'll limit any unnecessarily idling and plan tug and scow movements efficiently to minimize noise. And the offshore disposal occurs far away from the residential areas, so that won't cause any disturbance there. The project won't alter any upland topography or drainage, disturb natural habitats, or clear vegetation. And the construction is 100% water-based, so there should be no significant pedestrian, bicycle, or vehicle traffic generated as a result of this project. And the dredging supports the commercial fishing fleet and recreational boating community in order to maintain safe navigation year-round. So we have dredging scheduled during periods of least biological activity, and best management practices like turbidity curtains and environmental buckets will be utilized to minimize sediment disturbance. As far as permitting goes, we have an individual permit application in with the Army Corps, which is under review. As I mentioned previously, we have received an order of conditions from the Conservation Commission last week. And then we will soon be submitting an expanded environmental notification form to MEPA, as well as Chapter 91 and 401 water quality certification applications to Mass DEP. So in summary, maintenance dredging is vital for safe navigation, public access, and the economic health of Manchester Harbor. The town is committed to minimizing impacts on residents and the environment while completing the work efficiently and safely. Thank you, guys. Do you have any questions?
I have a couple, if that's okay if I start. I guess the dredging was done previously. Do you know when it was done last?
I believe it was in 2001. Jimmy, correct me if I'm wrong.
That's right. That is correct.
And did you have to get a special permit back then?
I don't believe they did. That was before my time. So I'm not sure, but I don't think there was one. I couldn't find any in any
Yeah,
sort
we-
of records.
Okay, I was just curious what conditions, if any, were established before, but it sounds like this might be the first time it comes before the planning board. Is that right, the dredging?
Yeah, as far as we know, so I reached out to the town clerk today to see if the previous dredging effort in a different area of the harbor that was done in 2017-18 had a special permit, and she was not able to locate anything related to that dredging effort. So it's kind of our assumption at this point that this would be the first one with a special permit.
Okay. I think that's it. Well, I guess if you could go through the specifics on the lighting and the noise again, because my one concern, I mean, clearly we need the dredging done. There's no question that the town, this is crucial for the town, but this is in a thickly settled area, and with the 24/7 operation, the lighting and noise, I mean, obviously the neighborhood will be impacted, so could you just go through again what you'll be doing regarding the lighting and the noise?
Yeah. So for the lighting, it's all downward facing fixtures, and it'll just be focused on the dredge platform and the work area. So we'll try to mitigate as much as we can any lighting going, affecting the abutters. And then as far as noise, all of the equipment will have mufflers to reduce the noise, such as, generators, and then sound dampening enclosures can be implemented as well as necessary. And then we will limit any unnecessarily idling during all hours of operations, but definitely during the nighttime as well.
So then this is 24/7 for 6 months?
No, for October through December, so 3 months.
And I would assume that this is a requirement, but all of those abutters will be notified, have been notified, will continue to be notified. I mean, I can't help but remember the whole cell signal and what went on with the folks living around that neighborhood. And I think we should learn from that and just make sure that there's a really good communication plan in place so that they're prepared and aren't surprised.
Yeah, so as part of the NOI submission process, we had to notify all abutters and do a public hearing there as well with the Conservation Commission. And then as part of the Army Corps application process, we have to notify abutters as well. Really throughout the majority of the permitting, we're notifying abutters.
But
This
once
is-
once the project starts, I think that's our area of concern. There needs to be a channel for the residents in that area. They need somebody who will pick up the phone and talk to them or answer their emails when the light is shining right into their bedroom at 2 a.m. or things like that. I mean, and it happens, despite all the best efforts. So is there a communication plan in place during the project for the abutters? And if there isn't, then yeah, it will be a condition.
Yep. So I'll jump in. I mean, DPW and the Harbor Master Office will be, managing the project. We can certainly work with Tiffany Marletta, the town's communications director, to, at the start of construction and do notifications as we do for, any of our other utility projects. Using all the social media, we could do more direct, door hangers and flyers out to that, area. And, for points of contact day to day, it would be myself and Bion.
Correct. Fine here. I agree with everything Nate said. We would make good use of Tiffany's communication and certainly my office as well. And whatever other steps that folks deemed appropriate.
And I would certainly hope that, we can, work with the contractor to minimize, them being in Proctor Cove, for instance, overnight, if possible, given that, there are areas of the dredging on the outer channel that are, much further away from residences that you can do, more of it at all tide periods. I think the low lying or the low water depth areas are really going to be the ones that are most affected by that tidal schedule. So trying to hit those during the day as much as possible, I think is something we would certainly stress to the contractor to minimize any disruption in that area.
That would be great.
So Nate, is most of the work done at high tide? Is that what happens?
They just need depth for the barge to be able to float in and then be able to reach and dredge the particular areas. So, especially in Proctor Cove, where you have some shallower points and you're getting close to land. Yeah, perfect. You're gonna have to get a dredge most of the way in there. So it's just working those tide schedules to be able to get all the way in and do it efficiently, I think, is the big thing.
So at some points during the day, there won't be any activity going on at all because the tide will be too low.
In those areas, they could relocate and go to, deeper portions of the work where they can, work even in those low tide areas. Or at low tide, I should say.
Yeah, there's other areas of the channel that they'll be able to access if during low tide that still need dredging.
And importantly too, that the dump schedule, once the scow is filled, that needs to go offshore and be dumped as well. So there isn't dredging activity during that time.
And can you just, I'm sorry if this has been discussed previously, but I am unaware of just the status of the contractors that will be doing this work.
So we'll have to go out through mass procurement laws, chapter 30, 39M, just as we do for any of our utility projects. So we'll put out a full set of specifications and plans that will be bid on by, local contractors.
And then with everything that happened over in Essex, with their dredging effort, I'm sure, I hope that we won't experience that. I would imagine that there'll be particular care in selecting who the contractor ultimately is.
So I'm not familiar with that. We will certainly have minimum qualifications within the spec that the contractor has to meet. Outside of that, based on mass general laws, we have to enter a contract with the lowest eligible and responsive bidder. So, after we get bids, we do reference checks, evaluate their bid, but it is quite difficult to remove a contractor. Or I should say, to disqualify a contractor.
And I'm sorry, I hope that this wasn't already covered as well, but the funding for the grant that's referenced in the materials that we received, what's the status of that?
it hasn't been released yet. We're expecting, it's the SEC grant funding, right, Nate, that we're
Yes.
waiting on? Yeah, so as
actually-
far as, oh, go ahead, Brian.
It's actually MassWorks, but
Oh.
I believe the execution is through SEC, so combination.
So we'll be applying for it when the time comes.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Any other comments or questions from the board? How about the public? Nobody's on.
Billy.
Yes.
Okay, this is Sarah Creighton, Proctor Street speaking as Sarah Creighton, not as a member of the planning board. But I'm the chair also of the Harbor Management Task Force. We have recently completed a draft plan. And one of the recommendations is that the town continue to dredge. It's important for navigation, safe passage, the economy, all of the reasons that the representative from Pope mentioned. So it's important. The Harbor Management Task Force felt that dredging was important for the town to continue moving along.
And any comments as a butter?
As a butter, no, I think that it should be expected that this kind of work has to happen. And I'm not worried about it. I mean,
At all hours.
at all hours. I think we had experienced it with some of that with the earlier dredging. The most recent dredging, same thing, they worked 24 hours a day.
I just have one question, so we don't end up with the issue in Essex, as I've read in the paper,
Yeah.
was that areas weren't dredged as deeply as they should have been or as far back. And now it's creating silting in shallow areas much sooner than it should have. We have a way of monitoring post dredging to ensure that it was completed to the depth. I mean, can you go out with your boat, Ion, with depth sounders, or do they provide certain reports?
Post dredge, the contractor goes out and verifies that that FOAT goes out and verifies that the dredging contractor has met the appropriate depth requirements.
Yeah, so we'll perform a post-dredge survey, and if it's not to the required depths, then they have to continue dredging to make sure that they achieve the required depths, and they won't get paid for it until it passes.
This is Jimmy Hill with both. We actually specialize in putting these specs together, and we do pre and post dredge surveys in house. And we have that language representing the owner, the town. We have that language built in to protect the town from a project like that.
So can I just say, staying on that topic, in that article that Mark referenced that I read as well was alarming in that the contractor had left Essex, from what the article said, basically without recourse. And I think it would make sense that Bion and Nate, if you haven't already, to talk to your counterparts over in Essex to maybe take some learnings from what they found out as you work your way through this process.
Oh, that's absolutely something that happens and has happened already. I've actually spoken with some people who worked on some of those barges, and we will absolutely do our due diligence to make sure Manchester doesn't experience that.
Thanks, Byron.
So no one from the public? Any more questions from the board? Comments?
Just around the special permitting process here, just because that hadn't been done in the past, what is our involvement in that for these projects with dredging? Specifically, like what action do we need to take here?
So our task is we can grant the application only upon our determination that the adverse effects of the proposed use, the dredging, will not outweigh its beneficial impacts to the town of Nate. And that's in 12.5 of our zoning bylaw. And then the standards are in 6.3.3. And really, because there are so many environmental reviews, it's really just the lighting and the noise, in my opinion, that sort of apply to our review. I don't know if you have a different.
Yeah, they actually did, go through each of the criteria and address them, which is very helpful.
Yes.
That is helpful here.
Both here and here.
Yeah.
Do we have the ability to impose a condition?
Sure.
Yes.
Per Peter's comment about the on communications. I think
Yes.
that'll save a lot of grief.
Any proposed language of a condition? Oh, Carl, sorry, public, Carl.
That's all right, I'm stuck in the corner. I just
Finish
say a
your
few
name.
words.
Yeah, your name,
19, Carl Doan,
thanks.
52 Summer Street, by the sea. I've been on the committee a long time before when John Harrison was in charge. And then they got me back on again, but back in 87, they came in to dredge. It was more, they didn't finish in the winter months. They came back in the spring, like May, June. The rig broke down. They had to leave. And so the question was to the harbor committee, do you want to keep it going? Do you want to leave it where it is? And we said, let's get it done properly. It was a mishmash out there. It was a horrendous show. Since then, in 87, they didn't dredge for 25 or 30 years. We've been playing catch up. And since Bayern has done some planning out there, we have had the last 2 or 3 dredge sessions. We've had the same people come down from Maine. They bid on it like everybody else does. But we know them, they know us, they know what the town likes to dampen the lights. And it's a smooth project. We don't know yet until the bids go out. But I believe the same people would be bidding again, because they have done a lot of work on Cape Ann and Manchester to Salem Bay. There has not been a situation like there was in Essex. Manchester never had a situation like that. I think that was something that happened. It's maybe hopefully one of a kind. But the way Bayern has run the programs for the last 2 or 3 dredgings, he's done a super job. He's organized. He knows the people. He knows who to, if you've got a question, you go to Bayern or somebody else, Ms. Barletta, and you can go down and talk to the head chief of operations down. So the town has been very lucky. We've had good operations, clean and neat with not a lot of folk art. So I don't think there's many worries, and I'm hoping it's clean and neat. They come in and do their work and get it done.
Thank you. So any suggestion in terms of language for a specific condition regarding communication? I mean, it could even involve someone on the Harbor Commission. There could be.
Maybe a recommendation to include information on the town website for the update on this project and the time frame. And also, I know we mentioned October through December as kind of that time frame with, less traffic on waterways, of course. But I had a question there also on what that could mean for some pedestrian watercraft, paddle boards, kayakers who might be out in that time of year, what they might need to know as well, operating around the crafts and barges.
So,
Yeah, don't.
so from the harbor master perspective, that's a large part of the communication that I like to do with all of the boaters, kayakers, power boaters. The dredge contractor is not allowed to interfere with regular navigation. And my advice would be the same as last time. Just please stay away from the dredge barge. Don't end up in the dredge barge. And communication from the harbor department.
How about the condition being that within 1 month of the start of dredging, that a communication plan be submitted to the planning board and the harbor advisory committee, describing how abutters and other users of the harbor would be notified, and how abutters and users of the harbor can contact responsible parties to issue their questions and concerns.
Maybe not to the planning board. Mark, would you have a
Yeah, so
way to
let me
frame it?
draft an approval, assuming, see if everyone likes the draft, but I'll add the conditions related to what we've been discussing, some of the things that they presented as well, like the time period and that type of thing. And so you'll be able to review that, and I'll include things such as, requirements to have a contact person, to have a website up, to have the schedule posted, outreach to voters at those piers and stuff, some signage, that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I'll include all that.
So that would mean we wouldn't vote on it today, though, correct?
That's correct.
And we won't meet again until January.
Does that mess up your timeline for permitting, or Ian or Nate?
I don't believe it should.
Okay.
Okay. What does the board think about that suggestion?
That makes sense to me.
Good, sounds good.
I agree.
Can I ask another question? I'm sorry, and
No.
I did ask this briefly, but in the materials, the report that you provided, Sarah, which was, I'm sorry, exactly what that was, the harbor.
Management task force.
Yeah, and in there,
The draft.
right, okay, there was some discussion about the funding around this. And again, if this has already been discussed and confirmed prior, just tell me to stop. But just in light of what's going on in the funding world right now, and how we've had stops and starts on some of the other projects that we have, hopefully we'll be doing it in town. I'm just want to ask, the Mass Works grant that you'll be applying for, which is, if I recall, is it's in the millions of dollars, is that right? That we're looking for funding on this project?
Correct.
That's correct.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so I think, I don't know if this can be a condition, but we'd certainly like to be kept up to date on the progress, how that's moving along. And if you anticipate any issues with the funding, then I assume that the funding will then have to be done by the town. Is that right? And
You have to go to town meeting.
right.
Yep,
So,
town meeting.
okay. And so if we're talking about starting this in October of 26, when do you expect to, when do you hope to submit the application for funding?
Fine. Do you have those specifics?
as
Oh,
soon as
I
it
don't.
comes out, I would assume.
Sorry.
yeah, actually, I can get that answer from the state website. Dredging every year is done at the same time of year statewide. So knowing that most communities are wrapping up their permitting not terribly long before, uh, usually spring before the dredging, that grant round opens up at the appropriate time for us to apply to get the funding for this October. Don't have the hard date. Glad to get it and forward it on to you folks so that you have that.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's showing on the grant website yet,
Right.
which is
Correct.
kind of typical for a lot of
Correct.
grants. They don't. A lot of times they don't have a specific date that they're going to be released, that the RFR is going to be released. Just a kind of general time period. So, you know, I think typically it's within the next few months.
Okay, so, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to press on this, but I'm just curious. So if you look at that timeline and the grant portal for applications opens sometime in first quarter of 2026, your expectation is that you get funding for the entirety of the project? Is that the hope?
No, so and actually the model is based on our 2017-18 project. The state will fund up to 50% of the project,
Okay.
up to $5 million. So this project is estimated at around 4. So the most we could expect to get would be $2 million.
Okay. And so I've just asked if anybody on the planning board, are you aware of this as part of the infrastructure funding that we have in our master plan? Is this all, I'm just curious, is it part of it?
I'm not sure, like any other application that comes before us.
Right.
It's our part of our job to monitor the funding or figure out how it's gonna take place.
Right.
It obviously, living in the town, we want to know that it's a town project, but I'm not sure funding is something that is a criteria we can consider in reaching our decision as to whether or not to grant the special permit.
Sure, Sarah Creighton. Just that, a similar thing, speaking of myself. We granted a special permit for the, Cornerstone Church. At the schools, as you exit 128 School Street, maybe 6 years ago. And they're still, they're trying to get their funding together, so that it is independent. It's my opinion that it's independent, funding and similarly with the rotunda. We made the planning board made a special permit for the rotunda, assuming that it would get certain funding. It's been delayed. So, presumably the Bion and Nate will go to the FinCom for funding, and then town meeting.
A special permit lasts for 2 years, I believe. Then they don't make that.
I'll start asking questions.
Well, they're good questions. It's just I'm not sure we can consider it.
Yeah.
And I will say that if funding if it did not materialize for next October, I don't believe any of our permits would preclude us from being able to do it the following October. Is that
That's right.
correct, Jessica?
That's correct.
Thank you.
So how about a motion to continue this public hearing on the special permit for dredging to January 12th
At 6:30.
at 6:30.
Second.
All in favor?
Same.
5 in favor, 1 abstention. Great. Thank you very much. And Mark, you will.
I get a draft.
Great, terrific.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Have a good night.
Thanks a bunch.
Jessica,
Thanks for that.
Thanks, Carl.
Jessica, can you stop sharing your screen? Thanks. Okay, great. Thank you, Sue. Procedure, just a procedural thing. If you are not going to be here on the 12th, we'll have Gordon watch the tape, so I think we'd be okay, but we do need 5 members.
I'm not gonna be.
Not going to be here on the 12th. Okay, so we'll make sure Gordon watches the tape. And if somebody else is not going to be here on the 12th, just let us know and we'll continue to another date. As you could learn that. Well, which anyway, okay. So we don't have a lot of other things on our agenda, but that discussion prompts me with an item not previously anticipated. And that is associate members.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So if you recall, we passed a bylaw, a modification to have associate members, and we just learned why it's important. Because you had one person had to recuse, we have one person out tonight. If Gordon had to miss another meeting, if Peter, you know, you have to have, a special permit requires 5 people to vote in the affirmative. So it's not if you don't vote, you don't get, it's just constructively approved, which with an A&R is the case. But a special permit, and there are rules that you can only miss one in person, I believe, and watch it on tape. So
Over in what time period?
a
year?
no, for that one here.
That one here.
So you could,
Oh, that one.
yeah,
I see, okay.
that hearing.
Yeah.
So for example, if you weren't here on the 12th,
And
they could-
And it was continued.
it would have to be
Yeah.
continued,
Yeah.
and, you know,
Correct.
to Gordon, if Gordon couldn't be here. So, can you, please have Debbie and, post, or maybe Tony put it in his newsletter to have people apply to be associate members.
And is this
Express
something
their
with the
interest.
select board we have to do?
I forget.
I can't remember.
Well, wait, I have my new,
Wait, what's your question, Chris?
For the select board, as far
my new rules.
Oh,
Look it up.
right,
Right,
joint
too.
approval.
I
You
think we
have-
decided on just the planning board.
Have you had anybody actually apply or write you a letter and say they're interested?
A couple people say they're interested.
Right. I've heard that.
Yeah,
I'm looking
so
for-
the other thing to think about in that, if we're recruiting people, or you can recruit whoever you want, of course, but, think a little bit about, people who might be, interested in running, and really
Ah.
using it as a way for them to come to know. So it would be, it was section 12, right?
Something. Works.
That was one of the comments. It's on section 6.
I didn't know there was a.
Yeah, 125,
What?
124, 125, right at the bottom.
Page numbers.
Oh, 124. Okay.
2 associate members who shall be appointed jointly by the select board and the planning board.
The one for 1 year, one for 2 years, and then they run for a period of 2 years, so they're staggered.
So should we do something to,
Get somebody right away, just to,
just to encourage the select board to join? I don't like.
well, let's get some people who want to do it first. I think it's, you know, cleaner if you have,
Well, that's good to let them know that we're moving ahead.
but so we want to recruit, you know, let the public know that we're open to anybody, but if people have somebody, talk to them and see.
And do we have a job description? Because it's not are they expected to attend every meeting? I know you can only call them for their special permit.
Special permits is their primary.
Okay.
Tonight we would have had an associate or two here to say, here are the facts, understand how we would vote on this. This is kind of a weird one, but nonetheless, And, or for, let's say, for example, you know, we were gonna meet. I don't expect we're gonna meet the second meeting in December, but that's a very busy time, might have a lot of people away, and let's say we had an A&R. We would call them in to be to make a quorum for that administrative.
Got it.
But they certainly be willing, you know, to weigh in on other things, but they're not a member of the board. So I think, particularly to act on special permit and site plan review.
But it's good to have the associate members at all meetings if possible, because they learn what's going on. And although maybe they can't vote on the A&R, they can't vote on something that's not a special permit. And see how the board works, how applicants, how the process works, and be more informed should they choose to run for a open seat when there is one.
Okay, so let's at least get it. Debbie has some way to put it in,
Yes.
calling volunteers. Let's try to put that on our agenda for each month. Okay, I don't think we're gonna
Can I raise another matter not on the agenda?
sure. I have another matter too. Go ahead.
So my matter has to do with, a circumstance that was unanticipated when we did the, zoning change for ADUs, which is, not allowing a large ADU in the D district, which turns out to be a problem. Because with the justification was because we allow two-family homes in the D district. But there are cases, suddenly we understand, where a large ADU unattached to a house might be appropriate with a special permit, and that's not allowed currently. So I wonder if we could do a very quick and easy amendment to bring to the town meeting to simply change the N to an SP for the large ADUs in the D district.
Well, we did talk about this a couple weeks ago, if I recall, and sort of decided that I thought that the consensus was, let's leave it alone for now. I know we have a case,
Since then, yeah, since then the case,
what?
since then the case came before the ZBA.
Right. I think the other issue, given, so there's another piece of this that I think may also warrant a zoning change and may not be maybe beyond what we can do for town meeting, but what's going to happen in the case before the ZBA now, as I understand, is they're gonna build an accessory building without an oven. And therefore, it is officially not a dwelling unit. And we have these, that is a bad loophole, it seems to me. Because anybody can do that anywhere, what's the point of, I mean, and we have those all over the place. They are all over the place. And people have been, but now that we have an ADU bylaw, it seems to me that we should change the definition of a dwelling to preclude that. No, put the definition of somehow address that loophole. So that if I'm not sure how we would do it exactly, but it is a pretty
You want to give people, I mean, in a way, what Chris is suggesting gives people an incentive to do it through a special permit and kind of have it, so there's a real pathway for them to do something as opposed to finagling around.
Yeah, you're suggesting it through a special permit.
Yeah, that's through special permit.
Special permit for the ZBA or for us?
I think it. Whatever it is for the other districts.
Yeah, it's CBA special
CBA.
permit. for the other districts.
I don't have a strong feeling about it.
I don't either. I hate to, it's the first case and I'm very sympathetic to them. I mean, it's like the classic example of how an ADU should be used. This is just general observation. We don't want to make a practice of, as soon as we see a problem, as one of our zoning bylaws is applied to a particular situation, we're reacting. Need to be reactively legislate. But in this case, I think it might be appropriate.
And I completely agree with what you just said. However, I think because the ADU regs are so brand new, that finding a loophole that we didn't consider, it's reactive, but I think it's within reason that we want to get it right. And maybe that this gives us the incentive to review all of them again, just to make sure that nothing else like this could come up. But I think that case is a perfect example of why perhaps the regulation is not.
Needs a little tweaking. I mean, that's gonna happen, right?
Yeah.
And they came in with an 1,100
Yeah.
square foot ADU. They certainly they had options which were connected.
Yeah.
And call it a duplex.
But from what I
Do a
understand,
900 square foot
yeah,
ADU by right. And I think they're opting to build an accessory building.
aren't they renovating an existing building or no?
No,
No, they're building.
They're tearing down a garage.
Right, that's right, yeah.
Why don't we do this, Mark? Why don't you draft an article that we bring up at the next meeting to discuss that? I'd also like to see us, if we can, talk to Paul about how do we close the oven loophole.
Well, is that a question for town council? You
Yeah,
know, what language do we need to change? How to
Right.
fix that problem? And hopefully we'll get an answer, not another question.
closing the doors and nothing.
I think the question for council was, can you use an accessory unit as a living space? Or an accessory dwelling as living space, with or without an oven. An oven only makes it
right.
a truly accessory dwelling unit. But if you're living in you buy a microwave and a refrigerator, you can get by, so. But
There are a lot of those.
there's a lot of those, right? So, it still is someone living in an accessory building. So, and, maybe that doesn't have the same life safety inspections because it's not necessarily designed as a dwelling. So maybe there's some other considerations about that should be addressed too. So I'll look into that. My question would be is if we have 2D districts, we have a 1 and a 2D.
Yeah.
The 2 is kind of a large area. I think is it the 1 that goes up with like Pleasant?
Pine Street, those ones
Look on our map.
and like just in 100 feet or something. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
very odd district.
If you apply to 1, should you apply to both?
Yes.
I think we tied this way.
So the difference is in D1, the 2-family is allowed by right, and in D2, it requires a ZBA special permit. And neither of them allow the large ADU right now. They're both no.
Well, what would be the harm in including D2,
Yeah, D1 and D2.
D1
Yeah.
and D2?
Do the special permit for the larger one.
Right. There might be harm, I can't think of what it would be, so.
That was it.
It's more.
Okay, great. Another matter, just Mark had sent me. You can look at this, but just to give everybody the info here, this is the schedule for getting things to town meeting. So we don't have a lot of time to make tweaks to things. But we have, you know, we're in good shape on, I think, on our downtown.
How many more meetings on the downtown before we have to get?
Well, we could vote probably, I don't know, that's a question.
The
I guess the next
23rd
question.
is the absolute last date. that you
January
can-
23rd.
No.
February
February.
23rd.
Oh, okay.
Is the absolute last date. It would be. Give us more time to schedule public hearings.
Yeah.
To have a continued hearing if we need to. If we were able to submit at least some of the articles, if not all of them, on the 9th, but.
Yeah. Okay,
So
so we,
9th of February.
so just sort of bear that in mind. Okay, another thing that I didn't anticipate till I looked at my email today, and that is, it is the end of the year, and the chair is asked to write an annual report for the town report. In the past, there has been consternation among members that the chair wrote it. So I just want to know if anybody would like to work with me on that, or if that everybody's okay if I work on it with Mark.
So consternation instead of gratitude.
Yeah, basically.
I think we wholeheartedly support you writing. And
It's not really that excited.
I think we first might want to do a comprehensive group review. Okay, Chair.
That's fine. I'll let you know. Okay. You know, live and learn, right?
Yeah.
Better to ask. I didn't expect a lot of pushback this year.
You never know.
Okay,
So.
just since we have a little bit of time, any feedback or thoughts from the forum?
I have
Yes.
some.
Yes.
Okay.
So I heard a lot of casual feedback on the hotel inn issue.
Oh, really?
Yes. In OK, no hotel anywhere was pretty much the summary of the comments I heard. And definitely no hotel where Harbor's Point is. Just not the right place for it. But lots of folks seem to support the idea of an inn.
Okay, good. Okay.
Do you think we should be prepared to Richard's comment about what the maximum build out? I mean, we should know the answer to that question, I think.
Well, he said he's already working on it.
Yeah, he told me he had the numbers,
Yeah.
but I want to check them, but I haven't had the time to do it.
That's a big project. But
Yeah,
It's not even a doable project.
I agree. It isn't.
I think in some theoretical way it is. It's a dart throw kind of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, communities do build out analysis and it's.
Yeah.
And the example I used is 7 Central and you never get to that number and Union Street where
Right.
they could do 4 much smaller units and kind of fit some parking in and make it work, but they don't want to.
Right.
And so it's the same, that's the issue with build out analysis. It scares everyone. Oftentimes it was done years ago in the 70s, 80s. It was kind of a popular thing in the 90s. And then they changed the zoning and really cut down on density. Somewhat unnecessarily, particularly in village areas.
Yeah, I should have asked you rather than Kathy, because that was the answer that I wanted her to give, was that they were done in the 60s, the 70s and the 80s, and, you know, if you did a build out for all the entire town, you said, oh, this could be subdivided, that could be subdivided, and, you know, then you get, a very large, you can end up with a very large number.
So for the Johns, we did something like that, but
Yeah.
it was separate feasibility.
Right,
Yeah.
right,
Which dropped the numbers tremendously.
right.
Right.
Yeah, so I think it's interesting. The other thought I had as that question came up about empty storefronts on the first floor. Two things on that. One is I feel pretty strongly that we should stick with our no, single family homes.
Yes.
Because of the, ADU by right question.
Yep.
The second thing is, there's a really nice, I think, elegant way of, on that, and that is when there's design review and site plan review, we could remind people, or they could be reminded that if you put in 3 units with your commercial on the first floor, and your commercial is deemed to be no
Doesn't
good,
work, right?
then you can go for a special permit for your 4th unit on the first floor. If you have maxed out those above. So that's
Yeah,
that.
that's a good point.
And
Say it again, Sarah. I'm not sure I understand.
so if I'm developing cargo,
Right?
you know, I'm gonna put in my 3 units and a commercial on the first floor.
Right.
If I do that, then I sort of reserve a potential for
4th unit.
for a 4th unit on that first floor by special permit, if I decide, if I've already built out my 4 on the top, then the commercial really has to stay on the first floor. So they have a nice way as a developer to have their cake and eat it too a little bit, as you know, by
But that's only,
that's
only in the town
Town
center.
center.
It's not in the
right,
Harbor's
not in the
Edge.
town center. Yeah, not the
So,
Harbor's,
speaking of
Edge, but-
loopholes,
yeah.
is there a time limit on how long they have to try commercial on that street level?
Now, I think we talked about that, is what if somebody's tried to rent it and says I can't, and
Or if they
Yeah.
rented and someone leaves in 3 months? Can
Yeah.
They then come in and say it doesn't work.
yeah, I think that's,
They can try.
Yeah.
they can try.
It's, the point was made, I don't know if this applies to this or not, but, by somebody who said if the usage changes.
Yeah.
What happens then if it goes from commercial to residential to commercial by state law? What is that?
Yeah, that's what Adam
Yeah, that is
So they
such
can
a.
no longer go back.
said.
That's not our zoning anywhere.
Right.
I don't know where he's getting that
I
from.
think he said it was state law. I did, remember I emailed.
Well, I think he was thinking that single family is prohibited, so I can't take a single family and do something to it and then bring it back to a single family. That he can't do, but he has multiple other options. Properties here to turn them into multi-families, to keep a small storefront, I mean.
Right.
So.
The other thing that I did, and I haven't had a chance, but maybe somebody wants to work with me on this, or I was driving down, I was told Peter, I was driving, I don't know, I think down Bridge Street, seeing Pine, and to see the homes, not all single family, but close to the street, in a sort of historic homes. And then I want to look at pictures from downtown Manchester. And I don't think we have, I think we have historically had commercial. You know, with some homes in between, but we're not like some of the downtowns where it really is just all homes along the downtown. Our downtown historically has had commercial in the downtown. So I think that's, I was going to look at some pictures. Anyway, so.
And more commercial actually out in the residential neighborhoods.
And what?
more commercial out in Redmond.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we used to have a little store across the street from us. You know,
Yeah.
You know, the other thing we haven't talked about is demolition delay, which is
say again.
demolition delay.
It's gonna be the historic commission, right? That's last time we
Yes.
talked about it. They were gonna work on it and have they died?
I've spoken with Rosemary, numerous occasions and probably we're really not looking for this year, but probably for one more year. Yeah, till we get through some of these, the downtown, things we need to do.
So what do we have left to do as far as public here? Are we done with public hearings for the downtown zoning
No,
or
we have to have one.
one
We have
more?
to have a formal one.
Oh, okay. And was that part of that schedule?
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
so what the process is, we finalize our draft. We vote to send it to the select board to be placed on the warrant. They quote, send it back. They vote to place it on the warrant. We then hold our public hearings and vote a recommendation for town meeting. And then at town meeting, the community votes on it.
So I see then March 20, what does that say? For the public
23rd?
hearing? 23 for the public hearing?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
We can have it sooner.
And what
We can have it
format will
sooner.
that be? Will that be?
That will be more like a actual hearing will be posted in the newspaper, a presentation and.
In this room,
Question.
similar to what we did last
Yeah.
week?
Yeah, basically, but it will have a more formal
Yeah.
format.
In the meantime, are you going to put a video up on the
Yeah.
website
Um,
from that meeting last
So
week?
put it up, yeah.
Video is up.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
Tiffany.
Was it
There was
edited?
one
I didn't
typo
see it,
that after
but it
Peter's
is up.
eagle eyes,
What?
got it, I had switched the setbacks from and it had side in there twice or something. So,
One's okay. One shows that we're human.
one typo, show we're
Yeah.
human.
We don't want to show
Yeah,
that
the
we're
thi-
too perfect.
Exactly.
The thing that the two of you did, Sarah and Sue, of switching off, I think just made it feel so different.
Hmm.
It just made it seem much more informal.
Yeah,
And I thought it worked really well. You did a great job.
although my husband told me I repeated something.
Oh,
Oh, my gosh.
my husband's great.
Yeah, actually, he is a really good judge of.
Well, but you know what?
Speaking, but-
For people to really get stuff
So-
sometimes, he's not a marketing guy, your guy, right? So sometimes you have to say things a couple times.
So Mark, will Tiffany promote that that's there? Will that be in some type of community-wide?
You mean the video?
Yeah,
What
because
we did?
I think we want to drive as much traffic as we can to that, right?
Yeah, I mean, there'll be more written, about
Yeah.
downtown
Okay.
zoning and more people will, but. really,
How about the one pager or two pager?
That,
It's up on
that's
the
up
That's on there.
website
Oh,
too.
yeah, good.
Yeah,
I just
So the
haven't put-
FAQs?
yeah, this is
Yeah.
good.
That's
Yeah.
up there. The only thing I haven't put up is the schedule yet, but we'll put that up there. And then, and the slides, when you've had a couple little spelling
I don't think we
check.
wanna, put the slides up with that. I think we decided we weren't gonna put the slides up
Just the
with that
video.
video.
Oh, the video's up.
So there we go.
We have the slides.
Oh, yeah, they're on the video.
Right, exactly.
I haven't looked at the
Done.
video, but I'm sure it's fine.
Sure, it's fine. We're not
I
professional.
had, I had.
Yeah, a couple other thoughts.
Yeah, I wanted to pass along. There were two ideas that, one from, actually from Gary and one from John Harden. And there was, and I thought there was some merit in the idea about allowing an increase in the number of units, not a big increase, but so from 15 to 16 or 4 to 5, whatever, as an incentive to more affordable units. And I thought that was kind of an interesting idea, more a little bit of a carrot than a stick. So I wanted to pass that along. And then the other thing is, John Harden, actually, without any prompting from me, brought up the idea of going of the little blue island on Beach Street. after Harbor's Edge. And it, the addition of the town center district with the old Salad Master thing and Dusty's.
Wow.
That's the only time we've heard that, right, from him?
I don't know.
Yeah, we did get the owner of the
Yeah,
house,
yeah, what
wanted
about,
to take his out,
yeah,
but I wanted to point out to him that if he does that, he can't do commercials there, so he's stuck with a single family house.
That's a good thing to point out, because it's a very odd place.
I think currently he's zone general district,
No,
he's zone general district, he's
Really?
not in the A district.
Oh,
Yeah, and so,
that's what he wants to
he
keep,
wanted
right?
to stay in the general district.
Yeah.
the one little parcel of the little dot.
Well, I think actually it's, Creek Park is in the general district too, so there'd be two parcels.
Okay, I'm going to put at the end, before I leave this room,
Mhm.
a document into the January 12th meeting. And it's called things to discuss on town down zoning, sort of like the loose ends.
Okay,
And so as you approach January 12th, you can edit and add more things into that document.
oh, great,
So that we can talk about it. So
okay, that's, where is it gonna
it's gonna be
be?
in the January 12th meeting
Doc,
folder.
okay,
Can I say it was great how we collaboratively worked on those documents?
Yeah, oh,
Having it in
I
one
know.
place where you can make comments and keep them all there and everybody can see everybody else's comments. I thought that was really great. Well, then never mind. It wasn't, I didn't.
well, I mean,
I think that
No.
the issues, those were types things, the,
Proof-
but they were
proofing,
not,
yeah.
we were not doing any substantive changes.
Right.
So what you cannot do, I would argue, is substantive arguing on the draft of the zoning and saying, I want 2 parking spaces and she wants 1 parking space. That's the deliberative piece as opposed to the typos. and
Which we
stuff.
certainly did.
So
Right.
if Sarah sends something out, you can reply just to Sarah with your comments, and she, just like when I send something to all of you, you send back your comments. I'll edit them as I, see fit if it makes sense or whatever, and then it'll be presented to the board, so you can do that, but you can't put a document up and then, or send it around and everyone comments on it, and, cause that becomes deliberative.
well, let me
Yeah.
ask you a question. I want to understand the line of delivery. So if in fact, rather than advocating for a particular thing, can you ask a question? So
Of Mark.
Yeah.
of Mark or put a question on the document that's in SharePoint. So for example, I'll give you a specific example. So on, what is it? Table of allowed uses. So number 7, mixed use, first floor residential. Town center, it's with a planning board special permit. And in the Harbor's Edge, no. So is an acceptable non-deliberative comment? Do we want to keep the no?
That's deliberative.
Yeah.
That's deliberative?
Yeah, I mean, this is the place to ask the question or
Right.
send, or if you're
Right.
unsure of why it was put in
Mm.
or something, or it's something a little more technical and you want an explanation, send the question to me. So,
I have one other request on January 12th meeting. Can we finally decide if we're gonna do senior housing?
Right.
so I have the draft. I thought it was in the folder, but it wasn't, so you can pass those around. Or at least everyone can take it home.
Okay,
January
great.
12th.
Or I can just kind of run through it so you understand. So it is on the agenda to discuss. So. So I set this up so that it's expandable. So what we did is we removed the previous definitions, and Chris had looked up updated definitions. So we have updated definitions, which, this entire thing has been sent to council, but she didn't get comments back for tonight. On this, she did do the downtown bylaw. So hopefully we'll get, those will be all correct. Then what we did is, we just did senior independent housing, which would be a planning board special permit. We did specific, requirement for senior independent housing, which is under 5.3. But first we did a purpose for senior housing and the applicability section. And then we did this definition we have of independent living and what the requirements would be for density and for other things that aren't specifically covered in, let's say, our site plan review or special permit requirements. So we tried to keep it very focused to what would be required if you wanted to build, you know, straight 55 and older housing. Then we have section on accessory uses, local preferences, and special permit procedure. So the way this is set up, that if we wanted to do another section here for, let's say, assisted living, we would add another line to this use chart. And I would add insert after 5.3, a new 5.4, and the others would get renumbered for, did I just say assisted living? And then I'd have like a density requirement if we wanted density, parking requirement, other things more specific to assisted living. So assisted living wouldn't have one parking space for every unit because most of those people aren't going to be driving. So it had, but there would be staff. So you'd have staff person, you know, parking for one space per person on every shift or something like that, right? And then a few guests, you know, one guest spot for 5 or 10, you know, rooms, that kind of thing. So it would have a different set of requirements, but the rest of the bylaw wouldn't have to change. So if you, and if you wanted to add another type, you write specific things. So that's how I set it up.
Wow. So,
Chris's help.
okay, so it's, let me be sure I understand. So the intention, your intention is to make what's requested at town meeting be the simplest and most easily understood of the senior housing options.
That's correct.
So it's going to focus solely on the independent living.
Well, that's what we did first. There still is some time to add another section.
Okay.
Like assisted living. Something like
Okay.
that is the next thing, and plug that in. But I wanted to get this to the board to talk about tonight.
Good idea.
Can I ask a question for those of you who have been doing this for a while? Has anyone ever come before the town asking to build one of these facilities? Or a housing, converting housing to it or something?
No, because it's not allowed to use this on land, so.
But do you think that that's, is a chicken and egg?
Yeah,
That it's, that no one's asked because,
Well, Wenham has got a senior bylaw, they have 3 senior housing projects. One of them is 40B.
They have more land than.
yeah, they're in their.
Then they also require 20 acres to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the only way we'll find out, I suppose, is to do it, right? I mean, the comment about zoning being a platform for things is,
Well, I
I
can
think,
guarantee you,
accurate.
we're not gonna get anything built until we change the zoning, and we might get something.
So we are gonna, I think there are 2 things. We need to work through this on January 12th. So big, long meeting on, you know, the special permit for the dredging, I think, will go pretty quick. And then
Yes.
the 5.8.
And finalizing that.
And then, We're gonna talk through issues around downtown to just figure out, let's do this, let's do that, let's do this. And then we're gonna spend some time on this. Then I think the next thing to do after that is to go to the second meeting in January of the select board and bring them up to speed on where we are on this whole set of things that we've been talking about. Because we're gonna have the ADU potential bylaw, inns,
Senior.
downtown zoning and potential senior housing. Because they need to, there's no sense us killing ourselves to get senior housing to the starting line, essentially, if their warrant is massive. And I do think it's, while we understand that putting it on the warrant and then passing over it is fine, there's a perception we've learned that it's not ready, we're not, you know, all of these things. So I think we're better off to decide in advance with the select board. So let's try on that. You and I, we'll work on the schedule a little bit more refined. And I think we need to go to the select board, and we've been there in a while, like, you know, just one or two of us. So
And if we're gonna do senior housing, we have to,
we have to have a forum, so we need to put that on the list. And it probably wouldn't hurt to have a forum on it anyway.
Yep.
So let's put that on the list. Okay, the other last thing on the of unanticipated things that I'm hoping maybe Sue and Mark would look at, and that is the there was an email from Robin about the downtown
I did
zoning
look at
and the inns. And she's,
From who?
Robin is town council.
Oh, okay.
I think and she has a very challenging way of response, and that she asks questions.
Right.
Instead of saying, I would
Guiding
suggest that
answers.
you change
Right.
it's to its, which is what we want her to do.
Yeah, and oftentimes their comments really aren't legal comments. either.
Right, which is like these,
That most of them are.
most of them are like,
Yes.
did you intend to not have
Right.
single family homes, and did you intend this? But if you could maybe sit down together, I don't know if you have time, but if not, or somebody,
Yeah.
and just go through them, and let's put a bow on that so that we can. So legal, I'm gonna put juniors, legal, us.
Yeah.
Um,
We will get together
Sue
and
and Mark.
discuss that.
Yeah, give them on,
Yes.
so let's do that, and,
Great note, Council.
Yes, we will.
okay. And everybody is gonna read the senior housing and can ask questions back to Mark.
Only.
I'll put that. Can you put this right in the January 12th folder with line numbers and draft? The
Yeah.
watermark, please.
I have a question for
Yeah.
Chris on this. What, is this what you would like to see? What's written here?
this is better than nothing. And it's fine.
Okay,
It's not perfect. I mean, you know, I'd love to see assisted living in there. But that's really where the demand is, I think, but we're gonna start somewhere.
okay. Thank you.
Okay. Any other business? I was gonna ask Nate to get a new clock, but.
I know, I thought, wait.
I'll vote in the park.
Oh, wow, yeah.
It's great. I
I feel
thought,
like
wow, are we
gotten
fast
slower
and
and slower.
efficient?
And faster and faster. We have minutes for November 22nd, if you haven't had a chance to look at them, maybe
24th.
24th, I mean, sorry.
No.
Uh,
Wasn't
Got
there.
it in there? In the folder.
Yeah,
No, they came through email.
Yeah. We'll get the folder,
November 10th was.
Next time.
right, and we make sure that the minutes get in the folder, because that's where they go to. We also probably need to do minutes for the small working groups, Mark, can you just put them together?
Yeah, Kendall was there, she took most of,
What?
yeah, Kendall was at that
But she wasn't at all of them. Okay, great, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Aye.
Great,